Hey everyone, it's Rabbi Shmuel Paul, and hope you're doing well. I want to wish you a happy Hanukkah. It's the fourth night of Hanukkah, as you can see from a menorah that is behind me. And I want you to all just recognize that as the world is changing so fast and in so many different directions, and often going in the wrong direction, but the menorah has not changed in 2,000 years. The same exact menorah that we light in the same exact way as was done in the Holy Temple 2,000 years ago. And I want to teach you a little bit about Hanukkah because it's a very beautiful holiday that even non-Jews can participate in without saying certain blessings that do not apply to them. But non-Jews can also light a menorah. And you should know about this holiday because there's so much inspiration that we can take from it. And I'm going to explain to you about Hanukkah with the help of an article by Rabbi Biton. And he writes about horns and baby bottles. So what is going on? Well, Antiochus was the evil king, the evil monarch, obsessed with abolishing Judaism, and he issued a decree that Jews must write on the horns of their oxen that we have no part, that is, we no longer belong to the God of Israel. And I confess that for years I did not understand the logic of this decree. Why was it essential to the Greeks that the Jews wrote this statement specifically on the horns of their animals? A couple of years ago, I found an excellent explanation attributed to Rabbi Cheskel Abramsky. May his memory be a merit for all of us, because he was a righteous individual. And he clarified the nature of this cruel decree. See, in ancient times, horns were used as baby bottles. The horn was filled with milk and used to feed the babies who drank through the narrow part of the horn. In this utterly brutal way, the Greeks expected Jews to be re-educated from the cradle to leave the Torah, the Bible, and adopt the Hellenistic culture and religion. Why was Antiochus so obsessed with the Jews and God? Because Jewish monotheism was an impediment for the Jews to recognize Antiochus as the supreme authority and a god. So he wanted to be God, so he has to abolish the Jews' God because it stands in front of him. Antiochus called himself Epiphanes, a deity, a man in whom divinity is manifested. And that helps explain why Antiochus obsessively insisted that Jews renounce their God from infancy under the threat of death. For a long time, the Jews passively resisted Antiochus. They tried to observe the Torah in secret and discreetly, and many escaped to the desert and other unpopulated areas where they could serve God in hiding. Thousands chose death instead of worshiping idols, like Hannah, a widow, tortured and executed with her 7 children because he refused to abandon the God of Israel and his Torah. Jews believe that rebelling against the mighty Greeks was useless and that all they could do was to pray for the death of Antiochus. Because in those times, when the monarch died, game over. Everything changed. All their decrees are canceled. But Antiochus remained alive for many, many years, and the Jewish people's history might have ended in the middle of the 2nd century BCE. But thank God, the unthinkable happened. The Jews militarily struck the Greek superpower. And this is how it all began. In 176 BCE, a delegation of Gentile officers and Hellenistic Jews arrived at Modi'in in order that Matisyahu, the city's leader, show loyalty to Antiochus by offering a sacrifice to a pagan idol, to a pagan god. These officers knew that once the Jewish leader obeyed these orders, all the other inhabitants of the city would follow his example. And if the Jewish leader refused to carry out these commands, they would kill him and appoint another leader who was more flexible to their demands. The Greek officers had already done this, city by city and village after village, and the result was so far the numberless Jews chose death before worshiping the idol. But in Modi'in, something different happened. Instead of giving up his life, which he was ready to do, Matisyahu decided to fight. He took up arms and killed the Seleucid delegation and his 5 sons. This radical and heroic act, spontaneously led by Matisyahu and his children, inspired the armed rebellion of the Jews against the mighty Greek Empire. Mission impossible. Matisyahu and his children called on their Jewish brothers to fight. But the Jews were not warriors like other people. They were peasants, farmers, or scholars, bakers, teachers, with no experience in battle. And at that time, the army of Antiochus and his allies was the largest, most powerful army in the world. From a rational point of view, the Jewish armed resistance against the Greeks was nonsense, a desperate, suicidal effort. No one thought that a small group of Jewish rebels without weapons or experience in battle had any chance of surviving when facing Antiochus' army. Mattathias' courage to fight and his unbreakable will to face enemies far numerous and powerful than him eventually culminated in the miraculous Jewish victory we remember and celebrate on Hanukkah. It was the first time in history that people fought, not to preserve their lives, but to keep their values alive. Wishing you all a very happy Hanukkah. God bless.